Hi everyone. Happy Sunday to you all. Today we're being welcomed into the studio of a Dutch artist. Fascinated by abstraction, creating art is a source of energy for Katja. During the lockdown, she has completed a new series of works that she reveals today for us during a conversation with Angela Di Bello, Agora Gallery's former director. Let's hear more about it.
All right.
Hi.
Hi. So I know you've been very, very busy painting a new series.
Yeah, that's right.
And I went on the website again and I noticed that the first painting you had done in this particular style and this theme was you and me, and then me and you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to shift to this wonderful new series that you're doing? I'm really interested in learning how you came about coming up with the concept.
Yeah, the concept is all about this period and that we're in a global situation and that humans are more distant from each other, like physically.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, it's kind of, challenging and heavy theme. I think, oh wow, I love the heart connection.
Yes.
So it's now extremely difficult to do that because everybody is much more in fear and to shift from the heart and that connection. So that's why it's actually more kind of people.
Yes, and that comes across certainly. I know that one of your titles, one of the paintings is entitled Karuna, which is compassion, and that's a Buddhist that comes from Buddhism.
Yeah.
So I imagine that you are very much a practitioner of Buddhism because it comes across in your work because of the philosophy of joining the inner and outer. And focusing on the inner in order to gain insight. And I'm curious to know if that practice was put in motion when you painted these paintings, or were you in a meditative state, or?
I always, before I painted, I practiced actually a Zen meditation. And I also had a tea house, a Zen tea house. So that's why the kind of Buddhistic Zen theme started. So with the paintings now, it's very important for me to first be calm as possible, and to work from a theme, and then to let it flow. And then in yourself, you also meet your own mind and your own feelings. That's the process.
Yes, I know it's a synchronization, actually, of the inner and outer world until you reach a state of truth for yourself. Because ultimately that's where it culminates. Culminates in a painting that other people, viewers, can relate to because of the truth that is there. And so that's how people respond. They respond to that truth, that inner truth, which is, according to Buddhism, is within all of us. We just have to tap into it.
If you wish. So that's so it's all about your own journey, but also the global journey where we are in now. So it's all connected.
And it's interesting that particularly at this time when we are more isolated than ever before, that Buddhism, I would imagine, is practiced by many artists, and there are many famous painters that used the practice of Buddhism in order to reach their truth, like Agnes Martin, Jasper Johns, Bryce Martin, Richard Tuttle, Pat Steer. They all practice Buddhism in order to, before they would actually paint, and they would meditate, and they would gain some insight into what it was that they wanted to say, obviously, before painting. So that's very interesting. And what about your colors? Your colors are also very alive and vivid and bright and cheerful, welcoming. I find that they draw one in. You know?
It's about finding that inner joy or inner calm, and to me the vibrant colors just resonate now very much. It's really alive, and that's it wants to come out in a way.
It wants to come out, absolutely. How do you determine your titles? I mean, that's obviously a very active thing that artists do, and they come to some sort of determination that this should be the title of the painting. I find titles very interesting because they give you obviously a little bit of a clue into what you were thinking, and it's sort of, I'm sure that your process of coming up with a title is very different than anything else because it's your vision, obviously.
It's where you are interested in to discover truth about or wisdom. And when I started painting, I have a kind of more theme where I'm interested in to explore. And then when you paint, in that process, you find information or it comes to you, and that's then the title. It's always after the painting.
Always after. It has to come after the painting. I don't think you could possibly think of a title first and then paint something to fit the title. That would be backwards. Well, you're a very intuitive painter. I mean, you're relying on your intuition many times because these paintings are so different from your abstract landscape paintings, which are all about, for the most part, they're about nature, but how you perceive nature and your connection to nature. And these are quite different. These are you're totally different. Your connection to what is going on right now in the world, but inspired by paintings that were, I think you and me and you were painted in 2019. Is that correct? Was it at the end? At the end of the year, toward the end of the year.
And then came a kind of the shift after. Then I started to shift from actually, I think, and the first paintings were here and inspired by nature outside, kind of close by. And this new project is actually more broader. Not only here, but farther away.
Well, they're interesting personalities. They all have their unique identification. You know, they're not the same at all, and yet they are the same, which is I think a wonderful metaphor for human beings. You know, we're different, but we're the same.
The unity in diversity, actually, that's that's kind of it. But I see that too. When I look at them, I think, okay, that's really different. But it's also interesting that everybody else has other preference. So I like that it's not one fixed, but that it's
Absolutely. And when you think about artists who become well known for their work, it's always the same, not always, but primarily the same style, the same theme, the same way of working.
Yeah.
And I think that saddens me a little bit, because I'd rather see an artist who is very, very well known experiment more with saying something in a different way. Maybe you can say the same thing, but you can say it in a different way. That because you're connecting as a body of work that is very well known, is connecting with an audience. And that audience sometimes tends to be very fixed, and so it's not expanding the audience and by creating something new, which is what you've done. You've gone outside your box and you created something new. Something new.
So for me, that's kind of the process. You don't really know what is going to be next,
right?
And that's okay. That's fine.
And that's the best.
So that's okay. And you need time to find something new and just do it.
Just do it. Well, it's a wonderful series. You want to take us over to the paintings?
And, that's okay. Can you?
And then keep your own vision. Keep your own vision is.
Can you see it?
Yes, I can. I can see it. I can see it. Okay. And can you just talk a little bit about that title and why you decided on that title for this particular painting?
Yeah, because in this time we have so much information about the whole global situation. You hear this, you hear that. And to really keep it to yourself and what you think is the best and what really resonates with you. And really come from your own wisdom and what you think and what you feel.
Well, that's very Buddhist also.
That's kind of...
It makes sense for that painting as well. And then we had intended chromosome 2, which... it's quite logical that you've created these paintings at this time, because I see the connection to what is going on with the COVID-19 virus right now, and the isolation and your compositions include images that imply, for instance, the chromosome. I got that right away. The chromosome of 2. That's it. And what's interesting is that I understood that when I looked at the painting, which I think is very important when an artist is trying to communicate something very, very clearly, and that it comes through. So that's a very good,
thank you.
Good place for you to be.
It has, to me, it has kind of information. What keeps you busy and what is your wisdom and what you want to prefer to change yourself and see in the world, like that.
Because we're becoming more contemplative, because we have the time to really think about things, where before, when you're running around and you're rushing and you're doing so many things, it's very difficult to have reflection.
Then you're busy and
you're busy. You're involved in action as opposed to exploring your vision, your insights, your life. What is this about?
But I also think everything has its place, and
it's all connected.
It's all connected, and it's my personal desire to do that now, to investigate and it's a different time in life than like 10 years or 20 years ago. And
yes, well,
yeah.
you've grown as an artist. You've also grown within in those 10 years.
Yeah. So it's also an interesting period. That's for sure.
It is. It's a very interesting period. I think it's a time to learn some lessons about life.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever going to be the same it was, and that's good in a way, because we have to think about, for instance, our environment. And what are we doing to the planet? And maybe this virus and the way we live and the way we unfortunately destroy things sometimes. And I think this period is a wonderful opportunity to really question our actions and what we're doing.
Yeah, and make changes.
Make changes. We have to make changes. So that's fantastic. I am so happy with what you're doing. And the other thing I was going to say to you is that all the paintings as a collection work together beautifully.
Thank you.
So if someone wanted to buy all of the paintings and put them up side by side, they would work really well.
Yeah, that would be really nice. Yeah. So
Andra, is there anything you would like to say to other artists? Any advice that you would like to give them?
First of all, I'm thankful that artists kept creating now, despite all the challenges, and it's been amazing because we received a lot of messages, a lot of new images of new artworks. So I feel that this, although it had a negative vibe, this crisis, this situation was actually inspiring for artists, which makes me believe that they are strong. And I'm glad that we're working with strong people who want to fight, who are united. And who are always looking for advice, they're staying connected. So I'm thankful for all this. I mean, I'm glad also that we have this digital connection and we are able to keep in touch despite everything. I mean, the social distancing and all the challenges. So and I'm also, I want to thank artists that they are welcoming us into their studio. These are the spaces that we don't have the chance to see every day. And even if we see them mostly in photos. But when we are there, we see them live, we understand, even sometimes the light inspires them, or a special moment during the day. And it's where the magic happens, actually. So thank you.
Yes, it is. It is where the magic happens. And you're, I think Agora is doing such a marvelous job connecting artists and allowing a visit, those visits into the studio and learning more about what artists think about and the meaning of their work. And I think it's very important to share that, particularly now, but I hope that it will continue. Because it's just another way of staying in touch and communicating and sharing.
Yeah,
exactly. Especially because we represent artists from all over the world. I mean, that's a great way for them to build connection. It's also for us to keep in touch in real time, not via text or emails.
Yes.
Yeah. It's also more personal in a way.
Exactly.
It is much more so, and we get to see our smiling faces.
Exactly, which is always wonderful. So thank you.
Is contagious.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your paintings and your studio with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right. I look forward to seeing more.
Yeah.